Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Robotics Notes Elite. In the last episode, Kaito fought his long-awaited battle with the #1 ranked player of all of Kill Ballad, Takanowai 1998. And despite the odds being firmly stacked against him, fortune smiled on Kaito as he was able to pull out a victory. But as with the other people on the leaderboard, Frau's anti-cheater software wasn't able to pick up anything useful. And on top of that, the rumors proved true that, for some reason on the Kill Ballad system, Takanowai was being registered as a CPU rather than a human player, which is very odd. But that's something for another time. For now, Akiho is business with the doc at the robot clinic. I cover my ears with my hands and set foot into the store, and loud, blazing, and yet very catchy rock music. Doc is usually sitting behind the counter, but today he's actually working at the workbench. A big diesel engine sits atop of it. He's still trying to fix it. I mean, kudos to him, but we really need a better power device. Naturally, it's the one that was in Gunbuild 1. Figured as much. Akiho. Looks like he started taking it apart right away. I don't doubt his skills at being able to actually make it better than brand new, but even if he did, as Sabaru mentioned in the meeting, it's not going to give us the power we need to move Gunbuild 2, let alone Gunbuild 1. Surprisingly, Doc notices me enter the store and turns the music volume down on his own. Didn't have to shout that time.
Konnichiwa. 今日は気が利くね、ドク。
Akiho, yeah, kind of jumping the gun there a bit. If only he'd do this every time. I almost ended up saying that out loud, but swallowed my words at the last moment. Well, at least, yeah. At least she realized the error of her ways. And Fujita's still calling Kaito escort.
別行動。
Kai said he had something to do today and left early in the morning. He didn't tell me where he went. Naturally. I wonder what he's doing running around alone lately. Maybe it's related to the monopole? Could be. Anyway, that's why I'm visiting the robot clinic on my own today. Either of us could have an attack out of nowhere, so we tried not to do things alone. That is true. Or at least that's the promise we made way back when. I'm feeling kinda lonely. I think we can see that. As I said earlier, just moments ago, I'm sure you'll do a very fine job repairing the engine, but the output is not going to be what we need.
よろしく。首洗って待ってるから。
I suppose with our budget, we'll have to take what we can get. Now there's a pro tip if ever I've heard one. Suck it, Michi.
ああ、そうだっけ？
I got my point across, so does it really matter?
要件はまたパーツが入りようか。何でも言ってくれや、お得意さん。
Well, at least, yeah. Fujita is now treating Akiho like a proper customer. Now that Akiho is actually practicing being a proper customer, Doc slightly bends the corners of his lips. Was that supposed to be a smile?
あのロボの改良でも追っ始めるってんなら相談に乗ってやってもいい。
Well, we are giving him business, so, yeah.
本当？1号機をちゃんと歩けるようにするにはどうしたらいいかとかわかる？
Probably going a little bit too far there, Akiho.
当たり前だ。伊達にロボドクターは自称してねえよ。
Though, Fujita seems to be in a very generous mood on today of all days, so,
そういえばドクはいつからロボドクターなの？昔の話って今まで一度も話してくれてないよね。
Akiho actually making small talk with Fujita, how far we've come.
お前に話さなきゃいけねえ道理はどこにもねえからな。
話してよ。
I don't think he's going to tell you that easily,
名
Akiho.
乗ったのは20年くらい前だ。ナスダを辞める前後だな。
Well, I'm just being proven wrong.
ナスダで働いてたんだ。
That would certainly explain a lot. When I was born, there were 3 space development agencies: NASDA, ISAS, and NOW. They all merged to form JAXA. My dad works for JAXA, so I know a lot about its history.
まあその話はどうでもいいだろう。要件をいいな。
No time like the present, as they say.
俺はロボ部と雑談してるほど暇じゃねえんだよ。
There aren't any other customers. Bummer. I really wanted to hear more about his
今
past.
日は実は特に用はなくて、
なんだそりゃ。
パーツを買いに来たわけじゃなくて、ドクに改めてよろしくねって挨拶をしに来たんだ。
どういうことだ。
あと半年で万博でしょ。それまでの間いろいろ入り用になるから、ドクにもいろんなこと頼むと思う。なんとか半年でガンツク2を新しく作りたいの。だから協力してね。
Granted, this is Doc we're talking about. He'll probably be all as long as you pay or something. Well, we've actually been keeping up our end of the bargain on that front so far. Or so I thought, but I was wrong.
ガンツク2ってのは何のことだ。
I suddenly feel overwhelmed. It's like I can see Doc's aura flowing from his body. Like some kind of murderous intent. Granted, I've never actually felt a murderous intent before, but you get what I'm saying. I think we do, Akiho. He was in such a good mood. What happened? Did I accidentally tick him off?
何のことだと聞いている。
怒ってる？
怒ってねえよ。
So you say.
どう見ても怒ってるじゃん。
うるせえ。俺はいつもこうだ。それよりガンツク2ってのは何なんだ。
あ、新しいロボだよ。ガンツク1。こないだテストした1号機はひとまず開発を凍結して万博出展用に新しくロボを作る。それがガンツク2で。
バカ野郎。
Yeah, he's mad. I can't believe Doc's capable of shouting that loud. I thought my eardrums were going to shatter for a second there. No wonder he listens to music that loud every day. And why am I even getting yelled at? I think I'm beginning to suspect why.
1号機があんなざまだっつうのに、それをほったらかして2号機を作るだ。お前が言ってんのはな、出来の悪かった子供を捨てて新しい子供を作るっていうのと同じだぞ。
You have a point, but then again, there is the chance to actually make up for that
お前
failure.
のあのロボへの情熱っつうのはその程度のもんだったのか。
Misguided passion, I would say.
違くねえ。ダメだったから1号機は諦めるってことだろうが。
You're not wrong there. But then again, Gumball 1 was Misaki's project, not Akiho's.
こらえ性がなさすぎる。これだから最近の若いやつはダメなんだ。そんな気持ちのやつが新しくロボを作ったところでどうせまた失敗で終わるだろうよ。出てけ。二度と顔を出すんじゃねえ。
ドク。
お前は姉と同じでもう少し骨のあるやつだと思ってたかな。
Here we go. Once again, everyone comparing Akiho to all this to Misaki and saying how much of a failure she is compared to her. Even though, yeah, the only reason that Gumball 1 turned out the way that it did was because we didn't have the resources. But now we have the resources, we could actually get it right again. Rather than trying to... Oh, never mind. This has gone nowhere. You'd probably be even more disappointed even if we fixed Gunbuild 1 and still had it fail. Doc sits down with his back turned to me. And if you're going to blame... Well, let me rephrase that. Akiho isn't the only Tsunomiya who turned her back on her dreams. But I don't see Fujita ever giving Misaki a talking to. He doesn't even want to listen. I know how stubborn he can be. Once he gets like this, it doesn't matter what I say. Akiho finally shows a measure of maturity, and look what happens. And to be honest, what he said wasn't all wrong, despite the fact that everyone kept blaming her and her alone for the failure of Gunbuild 1. I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart with a needle. I leave without saying a word. I stop and look toward the door for a bit, but it's not like he was going to come and chase me to begin with. I didn't think Doc was so attached to Gunbuild 1, neither did I. But then again, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised considering the fact that it was Misaki who inspired him to start developing Gunbuild 1 on her behalf. But yeah, everything that Akiho does is forever in the shadow of Misaki Tsunomiya. And come to think of it, everyone was blaming Akiho for having so much passion towards Gunbuild 1 in the first place, but I'm not just surprised, I'm super crazy surprised. I thought he maintained a cold attitude of a professional, but he turned out to be passionate beyond belief. I like people like that, but... I clutch my chest through my shirt. Like I'm abandoning my failure of a child, huh? I still plan on completing Gunbuild 1. I decided that I'd start chipping away at him the other day, even if I had to do it alone. That's why I was having Doc repair the engine. I care more about Gunbuild 1 than anybody does. Heck, I might even care more than Big Sis, and she's the one who designed it. Ain't that the truth? But I need to put those feelings aside, at least for now, because Gunbuild 1 is never going to make it to the expo. in order to go to the expo, in order to catch up to my sister, which everyone says cannot be done, is a fundamental impossibility, and she might as well give up right here, right now. I decided to work on gun build too. And I think I made the right call. Yet everyone else will continue to say otherwise. But if I play devil's advocate and think about how gun build 1 must feel, I bet he feels like I've abandoned him. I bet he's tremendously sad and lonely. Even though he's not really a robot, he's just a paper mache with robotic legs. My heartstrings are being tugged away at. Anyway, I should head back to hangar. If I'm banned from the robot clinic, I'm gonna need to figure out another way to obtain parts for gun build 2. Actually, wow, I can't believe the second person to get banned after Michi is me. What a shock. Not surprised that Michi got banned from the robot clinic. Not surprised at all, but still. And back to Kaito at Chuo High. I haven't been to school in a bit, but it's unexpectedly noisy. It's summer break, but the sports clubs are here. The sound of arrows hitting their marks echoes out from the Kudo range in the back. There are several bicycles and motorbikes in the parking lot, and before I forget, time to check Twippo. Going to forget this time. Let's see, something from Juna. Together, huh? Karate is, besides training, a solo sport in the end, so I kinda like that. Message from Frau. Regarding the report, I will help you look for it. Well, that's good to know. Over the phone. Doc got mad at me. Not really saying why. What? Tisk. Seems like my eyes have dulled. Might be time to call it quits. Oh dear. And nothing else. For a change. There are fewer when class is in session, but it's not empty. That being said, people rarely drop by the courtyard where the robotics club room is located. It's pretty much just the soccer and surfing clubs who come to take various things out of storage. And surprise, surprise, Frau Kujiro is here at the school in broad daylight. Right next to me, Frau seems kind of nervous as her eyes wander aimlessly. Well, at least she's in the shade. Although, getting her out of the shade is probably going to be no small task.
学校来たの何日ぶり？
転校してきた日以来。
That was a while ago. Frau came to the island on the same day we returned from the Robo 1 Grand Finals. That means it's been over a month.
夏休みで人があんまりいないのにそれじゃ新学期はどうするの？
Good point.
当然引きこもってますが何か。
Well, obviously. The answer comes to her like it's the most obvious thing in the world. Doesn't seem like she cares a bit about graduating. Then what was the point of transferring? Besides, trying to look for her mother on this island, geniuses sure are a weird bunch.
私のことはいい。アイリタンを移せ。アイリタンの戦いぶりを。
and she wants to speak to Irie. She shakes her Pokegom at me while making demands. I'm not exactly sure what she's referring to here, but that's not new, so I opt to just ignore her, in typical Kaito fashion. Today we're going to ask Irie about Kimijima Report number 3. We're planning to go search for the report together afterward. I've no idea where it is though. Might have to go as far as the north end of the island. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up scrambling all day. Neither would we. But then again, yeah. The rest of the reports might be hidden in more obscure places, and it's entirely possible that Irie might not know where the last ones are, which is going to be very time-consuming.
そもそもなんで集合場所学校なん？私の家でよくね？
Because it's a school day?
今日のことはアキちゃんには内緒なんでね。
Or that, obviously. That's why I picked here instead of the airport. If Akiho noticed us, she'd probably try to tag along. That being said, she already notices that something is wrong, Kaito. That you're being uncharacteristically suspicious. I told Akiho that I'd go off on my own today, and that struck a nerve with her. I mean, it's not like we have jobs to do until Subaru finishes the Model 2 blueprint, so I'll do as I please. I decide to call Irie out immediately. The Kimijima reports seem to be scattered across the island. That means it could take a whole day to find one.
ハイリちゃん、いる？
I take a look around the area and call out to her. Then I look down at my Pokegom.
こんにちは、お兄ちゃん。アイリタン来た。
And she is. Frau leans up against me to look at my Pokegom screen. Why look at mine? She knows she could see the same thing if she used her own.
それにしてもこんなロリ風幼女にお兄ちゃんと呼ばせるとか、ヤシオ先輩さすがです。はあはあ。
There is such a thing as personal space.
コナちゃんさ、なんであえいでるんだよ。気持ち悪いよ。あと、くっつきなさんなって。
I forcefully peel Frau off my body and push her away.
少し落ち着け。一緒に連れてってあげないよ。
Frau was the one who asked if we could search for the Kimijima reports together. That's why I had her come out today. My words finally snapped Frau back to her senses. She takes a deep breath and hangs her head.
つい興奮しすぎたわ。さあせん。お兄ちゃん。
If only Frau came with a sister centipede switch, but she doesn't. Definitely reminiscent of a certain super hacker that I know, probably even worse. She's definitely making fun of me. I shouldn't take her too seriously. The Kimijima reports are much more important right now, which means that we'll have to speak with Sister Centipede and not Irie. We haven't talked to Irie in a long while, so we should make
アイリ
the
ちゃん
most
さ
of it.
ゲージネーになれる。
Then again.
では、アイリのどこかをタップしてください。
その操作いちいちしなくちゃいけないわけ？面倒なんだけど。 前に勝手にゲジ姉になってたこともあるじゃん。だから本当はできるんでしょ。
はい、できます。
She admitted it.
でもお兄ちゃんとのスキンシップもっと取りたいので、これからも愛梨のこと触ってくれると嬉しいです。
ざわざわ。
Man, out of context, that sounds really bad. Indeed.
おまわりさん、変態はここです。
You know, Frau, you're not wrong. Frau says as her eyes wander wildly.
コナちゃんほどじゃないよ。
つまり私と先輩は変態仲間ですね。わかります。
Being lumped together with her is humiliating. This conversation is going nowhere fast. Let's just get this over with. I ignore Frau again and tap on Irie.
Access アクセスを確認しました。ゲジネモードに移行します。
And now for the important business.
こんにちは、ヤシオさん。
謝れ。全国1億2000万人のロリコンに謝れ。なんでさっきのロリ風の幼女から変えてしまったのか。
Didn't you just have a conversation with Sister Centipede the last time?
私は幼女の愛理タンが好きです。ゾウさんはもっと好きです。
I hesitate to ask what elephants have to do with the situation.
でも腐った話が通じるゲジネータンも割と好き。
Now's not the time to blush. Also, can you please decide whether you're happy or sad?
いい加減話の腰を折るのはやめてくれ。本当に連れてくのやめるよ。
さあせん。
Frau covers her mouth with her hand and urges me on with her eyes.
ゲジネ、君島レポートナンバー3についての情報を教えてくれないか。
詳細な位置情報は不明です。
Well, it was only a matter of time before our luck was going to run out.
AR アノテーションを可視化するためのフラグは以下の4つです。
Well, at least she can actually talk about the conditions. I don't think we're going to be that fortunate in the next time, though. It is going to be a huge pain.
君島レポートナンバー2を発見している。ゲジネより注釈。フラグ1はすでに達成済み。
Okay, so I think we can speculate that finding the previous reports is the first flag for each of the later ones, which is good to know.
メヒルギの花を撮影し、イルオにアップロードする。アップロードはアイリおよびゲジネの指定したアップローダに行う。
Photographer Candela Obavata. Very obscure. A species of mangrove native to Japan that can be found south of the Satsuma Peninsula. It is characterized by a long, thin, white flower. Huh, well, heard a noise there. Oh, I can't check.
3、チクラの岩屋内に設置されたジオタグを3日連続で午後1時から午後4時まで3時間フォーカスし続ける。
Focus on the geotag inside Chikura no Iwaya for 3 consecutive days for 3 hours from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. 3 days. This is getting ridiculous.
4、埋もれた鳥居にジオタグを付与した石を36個積む。ただし、すでに積まれた石を落としてはいけない。
36 geotagged stones that aren't allowed to fall.
以上です。
I feel your pain, Kaito. I want to groan. The lengths that the late Kimijima has gone to ensure that his reports don't fall into the wrong hands. These flags are even worse than the ones for report number 2.
その4つのフラグ達成するとレポートゲットだぜ。
No, Frau, unfortunately, that's not how it works. We might unlock it. We would have achieved the flag conditions for actually reading the report, but we still need to find it, and Sister Centipede does not have that information.
いいえ、フラグをすべて達成すると、現在は隠れている君島レポートナンバー3の AR アノテーションが可視化されます。
And then we have to play the fun game of find the unlocked AR annotation for report number 3.
具体的な場所はわからないままだよ。自力で探せってこと。
めんどくせえ。
Once we
フラグ
agree.
全部達成したら呼んで。それまで家にいるんで。
Yep, Kaito has to do the legwork all by himself. Go team. Frau shrugs and attempts to leave, but I firmly grasp her shoulder from behind.
ふ
Not
ざ
so
けたこと
fast.
言うね、コナちゃん。一人だけ楽しようなんてそんな虫のいいこと許さないよ。
さっき先輩が一緒に連れてってやらないって脅したわけだが。
数分前とは事情が変わった。手分けしてフラグをクリアするためにも一緒に来てもらう。
Kaito, the stern taskmaster, as
ぐぬ
always.
ぬ。
Frau looks like she wants to flee, but she's not strong enough. I can easily keep her in place by holding her wrist.
それにしても、今回のフラグってナンバー2のフラグとはかなり性質が違うな。
Number 2 was mostly game related. Stuff like downloading a game app, getting a high score, or completing a go-kart race with a good time. But this is different. The flags are all outdoorsy, and to do with certain aspects of Japanese heritage. And there's the thread connecting them all.
ほとんどのフラグがイルオを使うことを前提にしてるのも変だ。
It is curious.
変でしょうか。
だって、もしこのフラグを設置したのが君島公その人だったとして、君島公は10年前に死んでるから、それより前に設置されたことになるじゃないか。
10年前はイルオはまだサービス開始してなかったわけだが。
Ominous, isn't it? Now things are starting to get intriguing. The app didn't exist a decade ago. So why are the flags here? Definitely interesting. I guess Frau was done trying to escape. We have quite a little mystery on our hands here, and I'm all for it. Without me noticing, she settled down.
そういうこと。 なのにイルオを使うのを前提にしてるのっておかしいんじゃない？今でこそポケコンとイルオはこれだけ爆発的に普及してるけど、
Indeed, these
10
days.
年前はまだ携帯電話が主流でスマートフォンが出てきたくらいの時期でしょ。
To be fair, people, well, I can't say for cell phones, but these days smartphones are still pretty big. Smartphone, a device that became widespread starting in the early 2010s. It can view emails, browse the internet, manage schedules, all the while still carrying the normal voice communication functions of a mobile phone. The introduction of a high-performance touchscreen caused the device to explode in popularity. I think people were still using mobile phones back in the 2010s. Yeah. How far phone technology has come, though.
よく未来のことが分かったな。
It's almost like this Ko Kimijima was a technological savant or clairvoyant.
イルオが普及せずに廃れてる可能性だってあったわけで、もし2019年現在では手に入らないアプリになっちゃってたら、フラグは一生達成できないままだったんじゃない？
An interesting question. And I wonder if Irie could, or Sister Centipede could answer that. If that happened, all of his accusations would have just faded into the darkness, especially considering the fact that these reports are nothing more than digital data. They don't actually physically exist in the real world. And yet they are at specific locations.
マスターはイルオの開発が本業でした。たとえイルオが普及していなかった場合でも、開発者という立場からフラグの設置が容易であるため、イルオの使用を推奨した可能性は高いです。イルオのソフト自体はフリーソフトであり、ネット上で手に入れることができます。なので、絶対にフラグを解除できないという事態にはなり得ません。
Only in the event that somebody was out there looking for them. Huh. That makes sense. But still. I guess there's no point trying to wrap my mind over these flags. You're giving in way too easily, Kaito Yashio. My job is to beat the game presented to me. Though like I said before, most of the gamey elements from report number 2 are gone. We have a
フラ
long
グ
road
の内
ahead
容
of
について
us.
吟味していこう。フラグ1はもうすでに達成済みだからいいとして、
It's the other flags that will be most problematic.
フラグ2以降の内容を見ると場所にかなり偏りがある気がする。
I am a local after all. It's a small island, so I generally know where everything is.
フラグ3にチクラの岩屋っていう地名が出てるよね。
Actually, that reminds me. Juno and I saw that whale carcass at Chiuka no Iwaya. I wonder what happened to it. Oh, so that was the cave then. That was the cave. So we know what that is. We just need to find a white flower. And we also need to find something else too.
岩屋のあ
Gauge
る
of some
海岸に
kind.
は砂に埋もれた鳥居が立ってるんだ。
So we have to go back to that beach. Okay, that makes things a little easier. But then there's the time
メヒル
frame.
ギは群生してる沼みたいなところがあってね。県道75号線沿いだったりするんだな、これが。チクラの岩屋に向かうには75号から側道に入るんだけど、その側道の入り口がまさにメヒルギの沼の目の前なんだ。
Could have been worse, could have had to find a plant or flower that was technically extinct.
つまりどういうことだってばよ。
That, little Miss Frau, is the riddle contained within mystery wrapped in an enigma.
岩屋の近くにそれだけフラグが固まっているなら、ナンバー3のレポートも当然その辺りにあるはず。
That would be the most logical sense. After all, Flag 2 was Report 2 was in the same vicinity as the flags.
もっとあちこち駆けずり回されるかと思ったけど、そんなことはなかったな。
Not this point in time, but we might have to for the later ones, Kaito. Thank goodness. But there's still one teeny tiny catch to unlocking the rest of these flags.
ただ、フラグ3の達成条件はめんどくさいにも程があるね。これだけ異常に難易度が高い。
Indeed. Well, it's not so much that they're hard, just time consuming. So yeah, just really annoying, because somebody is going to notice that you're not there for 3 days, like Akiho, and your parents.
3日もあそこに通って毎日3時間もじっとしてるとか。
Okay, so that actually makes things a little bit easier. You got to go there 3 days and sit there for 3 hours, but you don't have to be there the entire time. So
この流れなら言える。フラグを設定した君島講師はド S。
俺もそう思ったよ。
whatever, no matter how much of a pain this is, I gotta do this.
君島レポートのことは忘れて。これ以上探してはいけないわ。
Of course, that means betraying Misaki. Mizune seemed to be involved with Kimijima in some way, and I want to know exactly how. I glanced at the clock and noticed that it's a little past noon. We should hurry over to the cavern. Frau doesn't have her own means of transportation, so we ended up traveling by taxi like celebrities would. Enjoy it while it lasts, Kaito. That's going to bring an end to this episode of Let's Play Robotics Notes Elite, and when we return, it will be time to start setting the flag conditions. As always, until next we meet.